Herbert Richard Baumeister, 49, was a businessman, husband, father, and suspected serial killer. During the 1990s, Baumeister was a resident of an Indianapolis suburb of Westfield, Indiana. He is suspected of luring over a dozen gay men to his home before murdering them. Baumeister committed homicide soon after his property was searched and bodies were found in 1996. The Hamilton County Coroner's Office and officials have recently renewed efforts to identify the remaining victims. Hello viewers, in this video, we'll tell the chilling true story of Herb Baumeister, serial killer linked to dozens of murdered gay men. So, let's get started the video. On June 24, 1996, Baumeister's teenager son, Eric, discovered bones on the family's 18-acre Fox Hollow Farm estate in Hamilton County's isolated, forested location. The bones were found around 60 yards from the house. According to a story in the Dayton Daily News, Eric discovered a skull and gave it to his mother Julie Baumeister, who then used the fallen leaves to find the remaining portion of the skeleton. She confronted her husband, but Baumeister dismissed the allegations, telling his family that it was only a medical skeleton and that it was a legacy of his late father's anesthesiology practice. When cleaning out the garage, Baumeister said he had discovered it there and buried it in the yard. Baumeister was a collector who collected everything, so it made sense to his wife. Only the Indianapolis Star reported on the discovery at that time. The incident sparked an investigation, but it did not make headlines. 3 days later, Hamilton County first responders confirmed the bones as belonging to a human being, along with additional remains discovered. It's an odd area to uncover bodies, retired Sheriff Joe Cook told the Indianapolis Star, leaving authorities perplexed. Two densely populated areas in the woods held the majority of the bones, some of which were partially burned. Authorities found nearly 10,000 bone fragments belonging to many missing males during the 1996 search. Even now, the remains are still being examined and compared to missing person records in the National Crime Information Center database of the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI). Up to 25 victims are thought to be at Fox Hollow Farm, according to police estimates. Less than 2 weeks after the bodies were found, Baumeister fired himself in the head to end his life. The New York Times was informed by SGT, Kenneth C. Wisman, that the killings and the bodies discovered on his expansive estate were not mentioned in his homicide note. Who was Herbert Baumeister? Herbert Baumeister was born in Indianapolis, Indiana, on April 7, 1947, to anesthesiologist Herbert Eugene Baumeister and Elizabeth Baumeister. Being the eldest among four siblings, he was said to have had a typical suburban childhood until reaching teenagers, when he started acting strangely. According to his friends, he had symptoms of urophilia, a disorder that made him curious about the experience of tasting human urine and increased his sexual desire. In addition, Baumeister enjoyed playing with dead animals and pissing on teachers' desks. His father sent him for mental health assessments while he was in his teens, and he was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder and paranoid schizophrenia. However, he never went to a professional for treatment. He went to North Central High School, but he was an outsider who never felt like he belonged there. After a single semester, Baumeister left Indiana University in 1965. He later studied for 1 semester at Butler University. Growing up, Baumeister held a variety of professions. His behavior got increasingly strange, despite his great work ethic. Baumeister had 3 children after marrying Julie Sater in 1971, after marrying for 25 years. Julie would later disclose to others that she had never seen her husband in the nude and that they had only had 6 intimate sexual encounters. Julie informed Baumeister's father after 6 months of marriage that he was hurting and needed help, and as a result, the father had him committed for 2 months without consent to a mental health facility. Later, Baumeister founded the immensely popular Save-A-Lot thrift store franchise in Indianapolis. In May 1988, Baumeister and his spouse bought the Fox Hollow Farm. How did his wife not know? At that time, Julie, who was 48 years old, typically traveled out of town once a month with her daughter Emily, age 12, and son Eric, age 15, to stay at a lakefront condo that Baumeister's mother Elizabeth owned approximately 100 miles north. As far as Julie knew, Baumeister spent the week taking care of his firm from home. Julie would later discover that her spouse spent his evenings at Indianapolis homosexual bars. Another terrifying secret about Baumeister: thousands of partially burned bone fragments, belonging to 7 individuals, were discovered by police when Baumeister was visiting his apartment. Officials first recognized 4: Stephen Hale, age 26, Roger Allen Goodlett, age 33, Richard Hamilton, age 20, all residents of Indianapolis, and Manuel Resendez, age 31, of Lafayette, Indiana. Each vanished on the days Julie had been out of town, and all had frequented the same drinking spots as Baumeister. Baumeister vanished the day after the police started looking through the Fox Hollow Farm property. After going missing for 8 days, his body was discovered by campers in Ontario's Pinery Provincial Park, laying next to his vehicle. Using a .357 Magnum, he had shot himself in the head. Since his company was on the point of insolvency, Baumeister apologized repeatedly in a 3-page homicide letter he left behind for the family's financial difficulties. The awful acts he had been accused of committing weren't ever brought up by him. Julie was shocked by what had happened. She would had a quiet life, few friends, and a close-knit family. She remembered how much she and her husband loved their kids and how Baumeister was involved in every part of raising them. They appeared to have a perfect family life to everyone outside of it. Julie was unaware of it. The Metropolitan Restaurant and Nightclub was a favorite hangout for gay men, and Baumeister was a predator. According to Jim Brown, the club's owner, Baumeister never showed up at ease there, as reported by People magazine. Gay men in Indianapolis started to disappear in 1993. Over the course of 2 years, 10 would vanish. Though there were few leads, the authorities searched homosexual bars, spoke with customers, and put up flyers. But in 1994, a man reported to the police what happened to him when he met Brian. He claimed that after visiting his estate, they participated in autoerotic asphyxia, which is strangling and sex done at Brian's command. After being upset by the experience, the man visited Brian once again in 1995. He noted Brian's vehicle plate number since he was worried about the recent epidemic of disappearances of LGBT males. That was the crucial piece of information the police needed to recognize Brian as Herb Baumeister. Was he operating before 1993? Between June 1980 and October 1991, bodies were discovered by officials beside Highway 70. The serial killer was known as the I-70 Strangler, and his case is still unsolved. Inside an Indianapolis 4-block radius, the killer met his victims at well-known homosexual bars. The I-70 Strangler is thought to have been Baumeister as well. He was reported to have killed 12 guys in all. The murderer was a white man in his 20s or 30s who had a low-skilled job, loved military accessories, and had a healthy lifestyle. According to FBI profilers, the murderer would express homophobic opinions throughout the day, but in reality, he was a latent homosexual who killed the young guys out of shame and self-pity. Baumeister was declared as the prime suspect in the I-70 cases when the remains were found on his land. In August 1993, Indianapolis resident Alan Livingston, aged 27 years old, vanished from sight. When the state police received a batch of 44 DNA samples from County Coroner Jeff Jellison in late 2022, he was among the first victims to be identified. Authorities currently have 9 victims and Baumeister connected. In order to help in identification, Jellison requested DNA samples from the families of missing men who went missing in the 1980s and 1990s. Among the first family members to respond and provide his DNA was Eric Pranger. It verified that one of Baumeister's victims was Alan Livingston. Pranger thought Livingston might have been one of Baumeister's victims, and that's why he sent his DNA, he told the Indy Star. Pranger, who was just 6 years old, did not have a close relationship with his cousin, but there was a hurry to find out what happened to Livingston's mother, Sharon, who was dying of cancer. About 10,000 human remains were found on Baumeister's property, and authorities believe the inquiry is still underway. Julie and her kids, on the other hand, are still in shock that their father and husband could have carried out such awful acts. Julie and her 3 children have to reconcile their love for Baumeister with his complete betrayal, since they are also victims of his actions. Julie told People, "Our biggest question right now is how he could have loved us and done this. We will never again experience happiness as we knew it." Friends, this was the chilling true story of Baumeister, serial killer linked to dozens of murdered gay men. Viewers, what you can say about him, please tell me in the comments section. Friends, if you like this video, please like the video and subscribe my channel for more amazing videos, and do not forget to press the bell icon. Take care of yourself, and I meet you in a new video.